watching the Channel 12 News with David Davis and Sally Severson.
A man who became a household name around the world for unthinkable violence dies a violent death in a Wisconsin prison. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being with us. Serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer is dead, attacked this morning at Columbia Correctional Institution, where he was serving 16 consecutive life sentences. In addition, Jesse Anderson, serving a life term for killing his wife, was also seriously injured, reportedly attacked by the same inmate. Andrew Bohag from our sister station in Madison, attending a news conference just moments ago with prison officials, joins us now from Madison. Andy, what's the latest?
Well, the latest is basically a chronology of what happened this morning. Apparently at 7:50 this morning at Columbia Correctional, Jeffrey Dahmer, Jesse Anderson, and a third inmate went to work in a gymnasium area. Dahmer had been cleared to be part of this custodial crew about 3 weeks ago. At 8:10, 20 minutes later, Dahmer's body was discovered in a staff bathroom on one side of the gym. Jesse Anderson was discovered hurt seriously in an inmate bathroom on the other side of the gymnasium. Apparently, Mr. Dahmer had been attacked first in the staff bathroom. He was apparently in a pool of blood, according to correctional officials, and they're not sure what kind of weapon may have been used. There was blood on various cleaning implements. A broom handle was found. We're not sure, though, if that was a weapon or if a weapon was even used. The third inmate on that cleaning crew is the inmate who is the suspect in these beating deaths. Apparently, he lived in the same housing unit as Jeffrey Dahmer at Columbia Correctional. Jesse Anderson did not live in that same housing unit. There were 6 people in the gymnasium at the time, 3 inmates, 2 correctional officers, and a recreational administrator who was in a nearby office. Mike Sullivan, Secretary of the Department of Corrections, said today that at this point he had no information about whether or not anyone witnessed the attacks. Apparently, though, he's going to have more information this afternoon. A 3 p.m. news conference has been called here in Madison.
All right, Andy, thank you very much. Andrew Bohag reporting for us from Madison as that news conference just got over there just a few moments ago. We do have word this morning now that just moments ago that Jesse Anderson has been transferred to University Hospital in Madison. He has arrived there and he is in serious condition. Now, they are 2 of the most infamous inmates the Wisconsin prison system has ever housed. Annie Schwartz is joining us from our newsroom with more on what led these 2 men to be together this morning. Annie?
Well, David, you could say that it's the final chapter in the case that put a black mark on the city of Milwaukee. It was July 1991, a horrific discovery. 17 young men murdered and dismembered, many of their remains found in the apartment of Jeffrey Dahmer at 25th and Kilbourne in Milwaukee. Now, Dahmer confessed to picking up young men at gay bars and young boys and lured them into his apartment where he strangled and dismembered them and engaged in cannibalism. Skulls and other parts of the body were found in his apartment. Dahmer pleaded guilty to the murders that spanned the 10 years in Ohio and Wisconsin. His insanity defense was unsuccessful at his trial in January 1992. He was serving 16 consecutive life sentences at Columbia Correctional in Portage.
When you try to keep a terrible secret like I was, it warps every other aspect of your life. But I managed to go to work, conduct myself just like anyone else would.
Also injured in the attack this morning was Jesse Anderson, the town of Cedarburg man who was convicted of killing his wife in a restaurant parking lot. David, sources at the prison tell me that this was not entirely unexpected. In July, another inmate tried to cut Dahmer's throat as he prayed in the prison chapel. David?
All right, Annie, thank you. Annie Schwartz reporting for us from the newsroom. Lori Stafford is standing by at the Milwaukee County Courthouse with reaction from the legal community. Lori, this has to come as a shock to everyone there.
Oh, you're right, David. This news has been spreading like wildfire throughout the courthouse and the safety building where Dahmer was actually convicted and prosecuted. In fact, everyone here is asking the question, how could this happen within the justice system? And we talked to the judge who presided over the Dahmer trial, Lawrence Graham. He says that he heard about the murder in court this morning. He says everyone here is talking about it, and he says he's shocked.
And my answer has to be yes. We're incarcerating people. We're denying them some of the ability to protect themselves, and therefore we as a society have a responsibility to protect those who are incarcerated.
Now, we also talked to the man who prosecuted the case, Michael McCann, the district attorney. We talked to him on the phone earlier today. He is sick and at home, but he gave us this quote. He said he was saddened to hear about the murder inside the prison system. He says it is a tragic story with a tragic ending, and he had actually hoped that Dahmer would be more come forward with more information for the doctors. He said that he hoped that one day he would be totally candid with doctors and that it would help medicine. But unfortunately, he died with his worst secrets locked within him. Now, again, that's Michael McCann, the district attorney who prosecuted this case. As for the defense attorney, Jerry Boyle, we talked to him a little bit earlier. He's in court, in and out of court today, and he has been quoted in the past as saying he would not be surprised if Dahmer is killed within the prison system. We will have more from him in the legal system coming up later in the newscast.
All right,
David?
Lori, thank you. Lori Stafford reporting from Milwaukee County Courthouse, and as Annie mentioned earlier, he had been Dahmer, that is, had been, there was an attempt on his life earlier this year, so this would be the second attempt, this time successful. Also commenting on the situation is Milwaukee Mayor John Norquist. Kent Wainscott is joining us from the downtown area with what he had to say. Kent?
David, we just spoke with the mayor just moments ago. He issued a statement. I'll just read a very brief statement. As horrible as Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes and as terrible as the impact these killings had on Milwaukee were, there is no satisfaction in murder. We deplore Dahmer's serial killings and we deplore all violence. Since 1991, this episode of Milwaukee history has brought only horror and sadness. Today's events do not diminish that feeling. I asked the mayor if he thought that there was some sense that perhaps this morning's events end that chapter in Milwaukee history, and he said that unfortunately there continues to be a great deal of attention paid to the Jeffrey Dahmer story, and each time that it's brought up it brings more sadness and to the families, and he said that is where his concern lies today. David?
All right, Ken, thank you. Kent Wainscott for us. Speaking of family members, also reaction from them coming this morning.
That don't mean because he's got killed that
dead, that don't mean that.
Our grief is over.
Well, it's
because
still there.
If you've never lost a child, you don't know how that just see. It looked like he just come into my life and just reaching and just pulled my heart out, just twisted everything apart. And by him being dead, that still don't stop it because it was done before he died.
To me, it just looked like the hurt is worse now because he's not suffering like we are. We have been through a lot of suffering.
Those two women, the first Shirley Hughes, Anthony Hughes' mother, and Catherine Lacey, Oliver Lacey's mother, both of them, their sons, victims of Jeffrey Dahmer. Again, to recap for you, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was murdered this morning at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage. Convicted wife killer Jesse Anderson also seriously injured. He has been transported to University Hospital in Madison now. Prison officials say the two were attacked, apparently by the same inmate, in different areas of a recreational area of the prison. We will continue gathering details and getting reaction on this major story throughout the